Hello everyone, I am Brad Boss and welcome back to my channel. Well, I've done it. I'm finally playing with more penises than I can shake a... This is Genital Jousting. I've never played this game before, so I just kind of pulled the trigger on it today, so... We're going to be playing this today. And I really don't know what to say about it. Knock the apple off the tree. Pull from butt. Eat the apple. With my butt. Oh shit. Okay. Ooh. Eat another apple. Pull from tip. Go to the sandbox. Okay. Yeah. No one will ever love you. Holy shit. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh shit. I'm gonna... Whoa shit! No! What the fuck?
John woke to the shrill cry of his alarm clock and lay there, rigid, his usual morning condition. But there was another reason John couldn't get out of bed. It was the weight. A weight that had nothing to do with his muscles or fat or sweaty blankets. John was weighed down by a piece of paper. The invitation to his high school reunion. From across the years, the words he'd heard in the schoolyard were still clear. You're a loser. No one will ever love you.
3 months until reunion. Okay. Shut up. Oh, my bad. Yeah. Yeah.
John needed to shower and wash off the sweaty stink of desperate sadness.
I need to wash my balls. Ah, there we go. Yes. This is so wrong in so many different ways. Ooh!
They say cleanliness is next to godliness, but at that moment cleanliness was next to his prostate.
Ugh. Oh, that's gross. Alright, how do I get it out of my butt? Oh, there we go. Ew. That's wrong. That is... That's really wrong. Yeah. That's gross. Alright. Okay. Alright. Okay. Can I use the toilet? Oh! take a poo. Pick an outfit. Okay. Ocean. There you go. Hit it with my balls. Oh shit! Oh no, I can't get out now. Eh. Eh. Oh no, this is not good. Okay, there we go.
John had 3 months until the reunion to turn his life around. First, he needed to clean up.
Oh my god. I'm gonna try
John
that.
called it a study, but it was basically for games.
Oh!
Mostly porn.
That's horrible. Oh god. Wrong. Anything else on this channel? No.
He was wasting time, dawdling, procrastinating. What had John achieved, aside from a mountain of crumpled tissues? The only reason he'd ordered so much takeout was because Delilah, the delivery peen, made John feel butterflies in his testicles.
Is how we eat things now? Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's how we eat. Give me the toast too. Oh. Wait, there we go. Slam it in there. Can I pick that up with my ass? Yes! You can! That's messed up, dude. That's wrong. But it's funny. There we go. Eat all the food. Alright, so we don't need the toaster anymore. What's that Is that poo? Ew! Okay, that's so much wrong. Clean it with my balls. Oh, do I have to put it? Oh, okay. Alright, I get it. Oh. Never had to maneuver my penis like this before. This is a new one for me. Yep. To the jam. Okay, clean dishes. All right, dishes are done.
John
That's
suddenly
poo. That's
realized the
gross.
time.
In
Distracted by his new drive to
balls.
improve his life, he had become late. He needed to hurry, or he'd miss the bus to work.
That's messed up. That's really wrong. That's really wrong. Alright. Alright, now we gotta get out of here. Okay.
John had left his apartment late, but if he caught the express bus, he might make it to work on time. John
Sorry.
didn't really like his job, but it had 2 qualities in its favor. 1, he could pay his rent, and 2, Barbara. Currently John's top candidate for his reunion date.
Are those flying dicks? Ooh. Banana. bottle up my ass. Yeah, nope.
John noticed a moderately attractive peen waiting at the stop. He tried to start a conversation and did not get the reaction he'd hoped for. It was probably because he was a minimum wage peen. She could probably sense it.
This is wrong on so many levels.
The office hummed with cold fluorescent lighting. The air was cold and stale, lifeless. How long had John worked here? Long enough to deserve better.
Flash Corporation. This is wrong on so many levels. Hello. Sorry. Hello.
John was late, but he felt daring. He could sneak into the office through the archives, or he could stroll through the front entrance with enough confidence to bluff his boss.
Do it.
Predictably, he chose the direct route.
Don't mind me. I just work here. Excuse me, sir. I need to use the computer. I do apologize. Oh, the computer's not even working. Look what you've done now. Look what you've done. Sorry. My bad. Sometimes it has a mind of its own. Oh,
John
oh
was
God.
nearly trampled by
Oh,
the morning
Jesus.
coffee rush. Everyone else was hard at work, grinding away.
Hello.
John might actually get away with this.
Oh, that's my boss. Shit. Hi, how's it? I've been here all day. No.
The boss. He homed in on John, deluging him with spit and buzzwords. The boss ran out of synonyms for John's failings and gave him an ultimatum. Barbara would definitely not be interested in dating John if he was unemployed. He had to get to the quality assurance department.
Horrible.
There might be a faulty dildo just waiting to cost the company millions in lawsuits. John would have to test them all. Every atom of John's rectum began to vibrate with the frequencies of pure pleasure. His orifice was a paradise. This vibrator would end all wars. It was good.
I'm just gonna hold out my ass right here. There you go.
That one was good too. The Prostate Pounder X900 series? The most advanced vibrator on the market.
Oh my God.
Sweet mother of no, John, that's too much pleasure for one anus to handle.
Oh, look at the wrinkly ones. Ah! Oh shit. Oh. Sorry! My bad! Didn't mean to do that. Ah!
John's butt hurt, but his heart was proud. If that vibe had gotten out into the world, it could have injured a customer as badly as it had ravaged his anus.
Put ass in there. Here we go. Apply Band-Aid.
The boss arrived and congratulated John on taking one for the team and jumping on the hand grenade, or in this case, putting it up his butt. John was having trouble following the conversation because he was quite high on suppository painkillers. And then the boss said it. Promotion. Finally, the company was recognizing John's hard work and ignoring his minor faults like lack of talent, constant lateness, and flatulence. John's new office smelt like polished wood and success. John's success. Sam dropped by. He'd heard John had been hurt. John said he was fine. He wasn't a softie to complain about a mildly ruptured rectum. Besides, he had a promotion to celebrate. John had met Sam in college during a sports ball game. He'd given him some stiff competition.
Stiff competition? Ha! It's my ball. What? No. Oh. Ugh. Yes.
Not stiff enough. They'd started at Flesh Corp product testing together. Nothing builds a friendship like a long day of dildo mounting. Yes, John had known Sam.
Hold on, guys. I got a phone call here. Sorry about that, guys.
And for a while. But John couldn't hang out with Sam.
Look at my
He had a
fucking
reunion
Band-Aid.
to prepare for. He was going out with Barbara tonight. He just had to ask her.
I put the cactus. Ow. Ouch. Ow. Maybe I can turn on the computer. More cake, Sam. I need more cake.
Everyone was quiet, listening to the presentation. A good moment for John to ask Barbara out. That's not Barbara, John. Nope.
The hell is Barbara?
Warmer.
The one in the orange?
Barbara agreed. Well, she nodded. Sort of. Things were really going John's way. John tried to act as suave as possible and listen to Barbara talk business. He didn't want to blow his chances at long-term love and short-term sex. Barbara began to talk about monthly feedback figures, and John started to zone out, imagining him and Barbara at the reunion, a power couple. She would make his classmates sick with envy. If he could get her to tone down the boring chatter. John's balls were gripped by certainty. Barbara was the perfect date for the reunion. John thought he would impress Barbara by going behind the bar and showing the bartender a thing or two. Despite Barbara's protests that it was unnecessary, John knew that a true gentleman should follow her home. He was excited. There was still 3 months until the reunion, and he'd already landed his perfect date. All he had to do was seal the deal. Barbara thanked John for the evening and politely did not invite him inside for coffee or sex, even though John had dropped some pretty obvious hints he'd be into both, or just the sex. The door slammed on John's hopes. He didn't understand. He'd laughed at all Barbara's pie chart jokes. He'd listened to her boring stories. The blank eyes of the lawn flamingos were witnesses to John's shame.
Tapeworm. Messed up, man. It's a squirrel trying to get a nut.
John began the lonely walk home, thoughts tumbling like shoes in a dryer. He had done everything wrong. Barbara had led him on just to humiliate him.
There's shit in this kid's sandbox.
John felt empty. How could he get love? He felt like he was missing something, some key to attracting sex. But John was shooting blanks. What did Peens want? Then it hit John out of nowhere. Stuff. He had the success. He just needed to show it off. But where was John going to get all the stuff he wanted? John needed a sign. A new day, a new John. He waited outside his local buttload store for it to open, eager to spend his promotion bonus on stuff. The best way to impress women. If it was buttloads of stuff John wanted, then he would need buttloads of cash.
Thank you. Oh, wait.
There's nothing like a rectum full of money to make a peen feel like a man. Suddenly it occurred to John that he was going to make a lot of choices. And every one of those choices would tell the world who he was. Did he want cheese or sausage?
I'll try all of them.
Delicious. Also delicious. How could John decide?
All of it.
Just so much.
Get out of my household. Get out of my house.
Maybe one more. John swallowed the last of the snacks and his self-respect. What would a date think when they sat in John's home? Comfort or style?
Like this one. This one good. This one's good. This one's good.
John went with
There
comfort.
you go. There
Plus,
you go.
it matched
Give
the
me
couch
all
he
of
already
it.
had.
Give me it. Oh.
John weighed up all the differences, but this was a tough choice. Something told John this was the TV for him.
Yep.
John chose the extremely, obviously bad TV.
I dig this one. This one.
John realized that it was only 2 months and 29 days until the reunion. Time flies. Cactus or rose? Was John a rugged hero or a romantic poet? If John grew his own flowers, then he'd save on romantic gestures in the long run. There was nothing John could take with him to the grave. Except his coffin. Death is inevitable. Style is not. John liked to get his pizza delivered. That way he could see Delilah, the delivery peen. She always made him smile.
This one. Oh. And a pizza. Give me the. Oh.
John knew that Delilah thought pineapple on pizza was an abomination.
I flipped over.
What bedding would Delilah prefer? John
The
couldn't
pizza
help
one.
wondering.
Give me it. Give me the pizza.
Pizza sheets would show her that John could also deliver in bed. Devoid of any sense of style, buying new clothes would be John's toughest challenge.
Here we go. Thank you.
John decided to go with the outfit. Music, the food of love. Should John go retro sophisticated or just retro? John's personal nostalgia was more important than sound quality. Every can was made of metal, pulled from the bones of the earth, wrestled to the surface and smelted in roaring furnaces. All so John could buy peas preserved in salty water and stick them up his butt.
Oh.
John's new purchases were on the way to his apartment. All he had to do was invite a date over. One look at all his stuff and they'd be overwhelmed with sexual desire. John felt proud and also hungry. It gave him an idea. He should invite Delilah over for dinner.
Oh, you were like with Rebecca.
John was excited. Delilah was on her way. He just needed to set the mood to romance. Classy.
There we go. Scatter the roses. Ugh.
John hoped she didn't have allergies.
That would be bad. Yeah. And then light the candles. Oh!
That must be Delilah at the door.
Hello!
The door opened and there was Delilah. John gulped down his
Pizza?
nerves and invited her in. John could tell that Delilah was impressed by his stuff. It was time to crank up the mood.
Let me go and
to
grab the
seduction.
wine. Grab the wine here.
John wanted to offer Delilah wine, but he'd already popped his cork. Delilah started looking as nervous as John felt. He assumed it was because she was shy too. They really were compatible. Of course, at the reunion, he couldn't mention Delilah was a delivery pea.
Beans.
That would be embarrassing.
Whoa.
Delilah
Where you
suddenly
going?
headed for the door. And just like
Hey.
that, John was alone again. Delilah hadn't even looked at his stuff. Not even the pizza bedspread. The rejection burned. John felt insignificant. He had everything he wanted. The job, the money, the stuff. So much stuff. He wanted to destroy all of it. Shove it into the abyss.
Yeah.
His stuff didn't matter. He was a shaft machine. A lonely piston pumping away like all the others in his rigid place. Nothing special about him. Why should Delilah or Barbara or any other peen be interested in dating him? He was just like everyone else and they could tell. John wanted to be special, but he had to face the numb truth. He wasn't. And all the money and stuff he'd ever accumulated wouldn't change that. He thought it would make him unique, but it just made him more like everyone else. He should leave it all. Get out of this little town and go on an adventure. See the world. He was a boring corporate drone, but he didn't have to be. He could be a traveler, exploring jungles and climbing mountains. He could visit the wonders of the world and get his picture taken. Like Peony Island, the unspoiled paradise he'd seen on TV. That was it.
My toothbrush
John
and everything
had
else.
to travel. Bags packed, John was ready to put 5,000 miles between him and his problems. He was leaving it all behind.
Dang it! I'm going to.
John was so close. He could almost smell the freedom of the skies.
Ooh.
Security sent John back through the detector. John had forgotten he had his nail clippers with him. He'd have to buy another pair soon, or he'd look ridiculous.
There. Leave with a bang.
When the acceleration of takeoff had slackened, John felt a sweet relief. He had left his worries on the
Give it to
runway.
me.
He was up in the clouds, on his way to adventure. John's adventure had begun at last. And clearly it was a small world after all, and also a flat one. That was going to piss off the globeheads.
Oh! Just the train into the ass. Oh. Must be pretty good because I shoved it up my ass. Ow. The fuck? Ow! Oh. Hold on, guys. Sorry. My music started. Didn't mean to do that. There we go. This is messed up.
John was having fun, but something told him he needed to go home. Probably his empty bank account. John was on his way back home. He was out of money, but money can't buy love. What it can buy are the experiences that had made John a more interesting
that one got
and
sick.
person, with 100 Butstagram photos to prove it. Finally, everything was going smoothly.
Until...
John felt good to be back on the familiar ground of home, but he would feel better to be on the familiar mattress of home. That's not John's bag. John really loved a good prick.
Oh.
It took John back to his summer job picking cacti.
Oh.
He hadn't gone back.
This hurts me.
Not that one either.
Oh. Oh. Ah. Looks like mine. Is this mine? Oh. Nice coming through. I hear the dog still. It's trapped in there. Oh no. There's the dog right there. I see it. Oh. I think it's stuck. I think I need to restart that one. Ugh.
John was on his way back home. He was out of money, but money can't buy love. What it can buy are the experiences that had made John a more interesting and developed person, with 100 Butstagram photos to prove it. Finally, everything was going smoothly. John felt good to be back on the familiar ground of home, but he would feel better to be on the familiar mattress of home. That's not John's bag.
That's mine. Excuse me.
Despite John's swell of fresh optimism, traveling was exhausting, and he just really wanted to get home and get some sleep.
Ah! Oh. Oh. I wonder. Dick face. Aww. Ah! Hey! Ah! I'm covered in dicks.
Another nightmare. John's stress about getting a date for the reunion was making him think of her. Harmony. He hadn't seen her in years. Would she be at the reunion? John shook off the thought. He wasn't a child. He was a fully grown penis.
Shut it. Fuck it all. Get off my head. Literally.
John's butt started to buzz. Had he left a vibrator up there? Whatever it was, he should get it out. John's old phone. They really were indestructible. It was Sam calling. He wanted to check in on John. The travel looked fun, but it was so sudden. Was John okay? Sam was such a softie, always worrying about feelings. John had only one feeling, and it was the feeling of being awesome. He could drop Sam a text, but John was on a mission. The reunion was getting closer, and he had to get a date. Fortunately, John knew exactly where to find love.
Alright guys, so I'm gonna end the stream right now. I'll be back a little bit later. Will John find love? We'll find out. Hope you guys enjoyed, and maybe later we'll do some multiplayer. Multiplayer Genital Jousting. You guys have a great day. Happy 4th of July. I'll talk to you later.